Hello and welcome to another walkthrough assignment. I am Ryan Black and today I will be taking you through Lab 2, which is very basic music editing. I'll show the assignment, then I'll show how to do it, and I'll be using Pro Tools. Here's the basic assignment. First thing is to import stereo music file into your DAW, then copy the sections from that file as listed here, and we'll talk about how to do that. We'll take an additional part here which we need to kind of figure out, and I'll reference this sheet without necessarily switching back to it throughout this walkthrough. And then at the end we create a new composition on a comp track and export that, bounce it out for submission. Great. So let's get right into it. Here is Pro Tools, and the first thing I'm going to do is bring in the audio file. For Pro Tools, that's Shift Command I, and then in this case we'll be using the Lab 2 source file, and we want to make sure we select Convert, not Add, or it might have said Copy. In this case it says Convert, and that is going to put that file in the session folder for this Pro Tools session. And here we see that Music Bed Demo, that's a session folder. It's in the Audio Files folder for this particular session. Open that up, and we'll ask it to put on its own track, which will be the next dialog. New track. Boom. Now I am also going to create a couple additional tracks, Shift Command N, which will be stereo, Command Right, and that will allow me to make the comp track and an edit track capture track. And I'm also going to add a stereo master fader. So now I have something that looks a little bit like an audio session. Now, if you remember looking at our directions, we need to label each of these tracks. So this first one is called source track. The next one, which you can Command Right again. The next track I'm going to label captures. Command Right again. The next track I am going to label comp. And that should be it. So hopefully this will play back. Oh yeah. So the first thing we need to do is copy the following sections from the imported audio file. We need to find an area that is just drums and synth. Well, something here at the beginning sounds appropriate. No drums yet. Okay. Oh, there comes some drums. And now I am going to do this today without grid mode or trying to figure out the exact tempo of this track. We're going to do it completely by ear here. Now I'm going to kind of show you what I mean by 2 bars. So if we zoom in, it means I should be able to count to 4 twice. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. So this section right here is approximately 2 bars of drum and synth. I'm going to cut that out, in this case with Command E. Now I'm going to find 2 bars, and I'm going to drag it, to my other part. Or if I want to copy drag, I can hold down Option and drag it, so it maintains its position here in the original. Now I'm looking for 2 bars of drum with bass and synth. And once again, I'm looking for that 4 count. I don't need this to be exact right now. We'll go back and complete that in a minute. There's some bass. Aha! And I was just kind of waiting. Right up here is where we start to get the guitar part. So let's make sure we got our bass here. I don't like that this has this little snare hit at the beginning, so I'm actually going to find one that's in the middle here. Like right here. So that's a little weird because it flips the synth line around. So we'll see if that's the best one, but that's okay. It will work. Now we need to find 2 bars of drums, bass, synth, and electric guitar, which I believe starts right here. Let's just see where this is. Hold on. So it's right here where it starts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then right about there is where it stops. Edit that out. Copy it down. Boom. All right, so now I have these 3 sections. And I'm going to mute this original source track now. We will come back to it in a minute. And I'm going to just make sure that these play back and sound like 2 bars. So I don't know if you could hear that, but it did not quite start on the beat. The beat is actually where that hits. Give me a second. Boom. And I'm not worrying about anything as far as mixing goes right now. Just the editing process. So I'm going to come in here with my trimmer tool and make sure it starts right on it. And an interesting tool to use here, I would recommend if you're in Pro Tools, is up here, tab to transient. And this will allow your cursor, when you hit tab, to jump to the point where the audio spikes up, which is usually the attack of something. So if I want to use that, I can kind of jump to the next transient point, and if we zoom in, we'll be able to see what it's selected as that point. And sometimes it's very accurate, sometimes it's close, and you have to actually get in and just double check it. So I always go in and double check. This one's great because it has a slight lead in before that kick drum hits. So we'll use it. Great. Cool. Then we listen to the end. That sounds pretty close. Just check out what we got. We'll kind of give it a little look, boop, and bring it back. So now we have 2 bars there. Come over to this one, same thing. Tab over, make sure it's good. Command E will separate those 2 parts of that region. Clip. And then we got to make sure this sounds like 2 bars. And you can see it goes a little bit too far. Don't need that. So that little at the end, that little noise is that, which is the next bar beginning. So I got that clipped. You hear that one? Has a little at the beginning. We don't want that. We can use our tab to transient. Go over, edit it. I'm going to do it a little faster now that you've seen it. It's pretty close. Sounds like we have a little something at the end. Yep. We can add. Cool. All right. So we've got our 3 major edits here. And now what we need to do is capture the following sections. I don't know why it says track 4 here, and also paste on the capture. We need 2 bars of drums, bass, synth, and strum electric guitar. Oh, what does that mean? Not that. Oh, got some strings. Oh, it's farther down, which if you look at the instructions, it shows you that. So we go to about 2:45. I'm looking up here at my time. Aha. not exactly strum, I don't know, but. So right here, start right here. And we can use our tab to transient. Come here, tab over, boom. And then we count our 8 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's not this. This is duh. And then it goes rah. It goes duh wah, like that. So, boom. Got our selection here. Grabber tool. Hold down Option. Drag it down. Boom. And because I did tab to transient, I don't have to go back and double check that because I already did it. I mean, obviously if it's off. Now we have to go to step 4 here, which is to create 4 bars of drums, bass, and synth. And we're actually going to create a composition at this point. So the way that I like to do this is sort of leave my source material a little farther down the track so that I still can easily access it. So that does not have bass. So that's not the one we need at the beginning. That does. Okay, so we grab this, and once again, holding down Option, I'm making a copy of that. Now, if that's 2 bars and I need 4 bars, I will just double it, which you can do by hitting Command D. Boom. Now it's doubled. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we need 2 bars of drums and synth, which I believe is this one. And if you wanted, you could even go in and relabel each of these. Like you could label this one like drum and synth, right? And that would make this process even easier. This one would be drum, synth, drums, bass, and synth. This one would be drum, bass, synth, and drums, bass, synth, and E guitar. And this last one would be drums, bass, synth, and I would call these hits, guitar hits. All right, so now it's very clear. So when on the next section I need 2 bars of drums and synth, I can look at my regions here and I can go, oh, okay, drums and synth. Now I'm going to show you something very useful. Go into shuffle mode. Now copy this down and you'll see it doesn't go directly down to the track here where my cursor is. It actually snaps all the way over there and lines up where we want it. Perfect. All right. Now we need 4 bars of drum, bass, synth, and constant electric guitar, which is our third one here. Same thing. So if I need 4 bars, this one's 2 bars, so I need to copy it twice. There's once, there's twice. You couldn't even see it. It's like magic because it was off screen, but it was in shuffle mode. Now I need 2 more bars of drum, bass, synth, and the hard strum electric guitar. So that's just 1 copy. Boom. Because it was in shuffle mode, it went down there. Here, I'll show that again so you could actually see it all. I drag it down, and it's a populating here because it's in shuffle mode. Boom. So now it's there. And then we need 4 bars of drums, bass, synth, and the constant electric guitar again, which is this one. Bang, bang. Now, oh, I think I missed the last one there. I'm not sure. Or did my computer crash? I don't know what just happened. Okay, there we go. I think that's correct. Now, I'm going to just move this out so it's not being heard. And let's listen. Make sure we have 4 bars of drum, bass, and synth. 4. Now we have 2 bars of drums and synth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3. Now we have 4 bars. Drums, bass, synth, and constant electric. 4. Now we have 2 bars of drums, bass, synth, and strum. 1, 2. Oh. Now 4 bars of drums, bass, synth, and constant electric guitar. 4. Now, there's a couple things that we might hit. This strum electric guitar. Well, if we want 2 bars of the strum electric guitar, then really what we should have is strum electric guitar on both bars. So if I take that and I copy it down like so, 2, 3, 4, 1. All right. Then I take this and I duplicate it. Now I'll have strum guitar twice. 2, 3. Like that. So now it has the strum hit at the beginning of each bar. The last thing we might do, if we wanted to do something to end it, we might find what does the end of the song actually do. Sorry, it's muted. And we're like, oh, that's kind of cool. Okay. Well, what if we take this? Once again, I'll go to shuffle mode. I'll copy it all the way down. Boop. And it should appear all the way back over here. Then what I'm going to do is something different than the original ending. Take it like that. Select it out here. Go up to Audio Suite, Pitch Shift, Time Shift, Verify. And do something cool with it. So now it goes. Oh, you couldn't hear it because I have this not. There we go. Which essentially sounds more like a tape stop. The last thing I would recommend doing is just putting in small crossfades, which is Command F, between everything to make sure that none of those, and I'll adjust the bounds if it says it can't put in that fade, just to make sure there's no clips or anything. At the very beginning, we always want to make sure there's no right when it starts. Cool. Lastly, whatever you hear is what will export. So even though I have stuff here, as long as I mute it or it's not in the part I'm exporting, it will be fine. So I can actually leave this unmuted if I select the range to the end of my track that I want to export. So it's going to export this time range when I bounce. Therefore, it will ignore this because it's not even going to get that far. And because this track is muted, we won't hear this in the bounce. We only will hear what we're listening to. So we go to bounce to disk. The disk in this case means hard drive disk. And we're going to use our bounce source in Pro Tools, which is for me ADAT1 and 2. We want to bounce as an interleaved file. And I believe in this assignment it asks for 16-bit, not 24-bit, which is fine. And then what do we want to name it? And we can choose where we put it. Make sure you know where your files are going. In this case, it's my session folder, and then there's a folder now in Pro Tools called Bounce Files, which is perfect. And I will label it as the name of the session, which is fine. We can also, if we want, create an MP3 version, which most DAWs now have this option. And then you hit bounce, and it's going offline. But if it's a short piece like this, I'd recommend doing something online just so you can listen to it one last time. It's funny how many times you catch a mistake when you're actually committed to bouncing and you're like, how did I mess that up? But for the sake of the video, I will do it offline. I hit bounce, and this is data that you can put into your MP3. It's called metadata, and formatting what quality MP3 you want. Right now we're going to leave that, but you can actually embed this information like genre and stuff into MP3s. Logic also does this in a very convenient manner. And here we go. Boop. And that's how quickly that goes, which is great. Now, if we go back to the folder, give me a second. Boom, that's a lot of folders. Oh, I'm not even in the right folder though. Sorry. We'll see those bounces, the WAV file and the MP3 file right here, and we can check them on a Mac. So that's what's going on. That is the basics of this assignment. I hope I didn't miss anything. I was moving pretty quick, but if you want to take a minute and go through that, check it out. Hopefully that will help with two primary things: the basic skills in DAWs and editing, and also, if you're not a musician, some of the ideas about how to identify what it means by 2 bars or 4 bars. In this case, it's in a 4/4 time, so you count to 4 twice, that's 2 bars. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you next time.